Welcome again, everyone, Tea Timers. We hope everyone is having a great Tuesday. Happy Tuesday to everyone. You know, it's a joy to see everyone out there signing in today. It's a great day, and we're excited to have you with us here on Tea Time. Hello, Karen. Hello, Monique. I see others that are out there, and welcome to all of you that are joining us here for Tea Time Tuesday out there, actually on our YouTube channel. We want you to go ahead, like and share our broadcast today. It's really going to be a great time of building resilience, a great time to just take a moment to reset. Like I said, to build resilience. And we want you to pause and just take this time to just relax and get ourselves ready for tea time today. The sun is shining so beautifully over here in Concord. You guys give us some thumbs up and some hearts if it's beautiful where you are. I'm telling you, it's almost like a sunny day, a summery day. And we got a few more weeks until spring is getting ready to kick in. And so we want you to invite someone to join our Tea Time community today as we take time for renewal practices. Join us on our YouTube channel once again. And we're going to go ahead and get started with our broadcast today. You know, today and this month of March brings us into National Women's History Month and then National Reading Month. And so we just want to let everyone know we're very thankful for the contributions that are made from women across the world and just and the roles that are being played and to accentuate things in our society and in our communities. And so we actually want to say happy National Reading Month. This is a great time to grab a good book, a good read, and to foster reading. And so, we do that here at the Renewal Center when we talk about our book of the week. And then also as we are journaling, this is a great time to grab that great book. So happy National Reading Month to everyone. And so we hope that you brought your journal and your tea with you today as you invite your friend and your family members in to join us for Tea Time Tuesday. And so without further delay, let's get started with our book of the week. Our book of the week here at the Renewal Center is What's So Spiritual About Your Gifts? And that's by Henry and Mel Blackaby, a very small but powerful book. And it says, this book will help restore the Holy Spirit to center of your understanding and practice of spiritual gifts and set you free to serve God as never before. Surprises are in store when we explore biblically what spiritual gifts really are and how they fit into our natural strength and talents and how much they are calling and our assignments are really from God. And so this little book is a very powerful book here in the Thought Room at the Renewal Center. Once again, our book of the week is What's So Spiritual About Your Gifts? And that's by Henry and Mel Blackaby. Yes, right there on the screen. And so we're going to move into our tea of the week. One of the best teas that I like is jasmine tea. I hope you like jasmine tea. Jasmine tea, here's a little history about it. A little fact is that it's a very popular and fragrant tea that is made from jasmine blossoms. Jasmine tea originated from China, from South Asia and India, and is grown in the high elevations. The jasmine plant is harvested, excuse me, I got a little tongue tied there, harvested in the most earliest part of spring into late summer. And that's when this, I guess, the most fragrant time of the jasmine plant is. So that's when it's harvested. And so it is enjoyed by many. Jasmine tea is steeped, just like all the other teas, with your favorite sweetener of choice. So what is your tea of the day? Go ahead and put it in the chat. I have peppermint tea. Go ahead and let our Tea Time community know what you are drinking today as we go straight into how we're going to locate ourselves. So as you get ready to locate yourself, go ahead and put your tea of choice in the chat. And locating yourself in this very moment is the time. It's the time to enter into a peaceful moment, a time and a state of thankfulness. I know when I locate myself, I'm in a state of contentment and rest. So let's take a time to settle our minds. Okay, Monique is having iced black tea. Okay, that sounds good too. Thank you for sharing your tea. Iced black tea. Who else is out there with your tea? What is your tea of the day? Go ahead and share it with us. We would love to hear what you are having today for Tea Time Tuesday. So let's go ahead and take a moment like we always do and locate ourselves. It's to ground ourselves and to get centered. It's a time to just allow peace to settle in, joy to settle in, a state of thankfulness. Okay, one of our directors, Hope Melton, has Earl Grey, which is her favorite tea. Okay, Nicole. Good afternoon to you too, Nicole. It's good to see you. Let's go ahead and locate ourselves and take a moment to center ourselves now. So we will go ahead and do a little bit of breathing, and we'll come back and enter into our renewal practices today. Okay. And while I'm locating myself, I'm relaxing my shoulders a bit and just relaxing my hands. I'm doing a lot of writing this morning. Just a relaxation moment here. Thank you for taking this time to locate yourself. I know I'm in a place of gratitude today. I'm in a place of thankfulness and peace. Let's go ahead and let's bring our executive director in. He's going to take us into Tea Time Tuesday today with some renewal practices.
Thank you so much, Carmela. Good afternoon. Good morning, everyone. Looking forward to our time of tea time. Hopefully everybody is grounded and you are centered, especially if you've had meeting after meeting after meeting today. This is a time for you to pause, to reset, and to increase your resilience in our tea time community. So I'm going to sip my tea as well.
What kind of tea do you have today, Patrick?
Let's see here. This is hot cinnamon spice tea.
I know that one. That's a good one.
So that's very good, very calm. Yes. So I want to center myself just a little bit more.
Yes, I'll do the same. And this time I'll just relax my whole self in this chair.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, centering is so important. So I want to welcome everyone to our Tea Time Tuesday, our first tea time of the month of March. And so we're excited about having you here. I want to say, let us know how tea time has perhaps increased your life. How has tea time impacted you? Perhaps things you've learned, what you've gleaned. We'd like to hear from our tea timers in our community on the impact of this tea time community. So I'd love to hear from you. So please place your comments in the chat. Welcome to all of our YouTube audience and all of our social media audience, everyone that's there. I do want to say, as you are placing your content in the chat, we are here every first, second, and third Tuesdays at noon. And then our fourth Tuesday, we are here at 7 p.m. So we have shifted things the past couple of months, and that's been great. Last week, we had a great engagement about navigating and managing uncertainty and when unclear. So I'd love to hear from everyone. Please let us know, our regular tea timers, and welcome, of course, to all of our new tea timers. This is our time where we focus on pausing during the week. You know, we've already cleared out Monday, so now Tuesday, good place to pause, to refresh and reset yourself and increase resilience. We do that by strengthening each other and being in community together. We are better together when we do that. And so that is why we have established tea time the way that it is. And so we appreciate everybody being a part. We ask you to like it. Please share this on your pages if you don't mind. Give us some of your social media real estate and tag your friends. Let them know that we're on. Have your journals ready and prepared so that we can engage together in our tea time. We also want to say that today is Giving Tuesday. So just want to remind you that the Renewal Center is a nonprofit organization here in North Carolina. And so through your giving and your donations and your partnership, you help us with our programming, with our operational budget capability to expand what we do here at the Renewal Center on site, as well as our programming. And so just wanted to remind you, today is Giving Tuesday. Please feel free to connect with us. And at the end of our tea time today, we'll also just reiterate the ways that you can digitally give to the Renewal Center. Also want to remind you to download the mobile app so you can stay connected to all of our content, video, audio, blog, also our renewal practices and other programming that we have. And so just wanted to remind you of that. All right. Mel, you going to stay on for a tea time today, or are you going to come back on? All right. You got your journal.
I got my journal ready. I'm going to be in the background today.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. I'll see you in a few.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, everybody. So good to see everyone here. Again, I'm Patrick Brown, Executive Director of Culture and Context here at the Renewal Center. And today we're going to focus on listening in. Listening in. Why are we going to focus on listening in? Because one of the key things about life is our ability to listen. And so wanted us to really strengthen this, because if you're a leader, a manager, a supervisor, a team member, or even an individual contributor, one of the challenges that we have in the work that we do that causes potential stress, potential disconnection, is our listening capability, or the art of listening, or listening skills. And I'd like us to really hone in on listening in because, especially in a virtual world, in a text heavy world, in instant messenger pinging world, many times messages can be misconstrued, right? You're not hearing tone, you're not hearing the tune of the voice, and it's difficult to listen because you're using sight. And so I want us to use the month of March as we kick off the month of March to be committed to our listening skills. So if you're out there, let me know, hashtag listening in. Just go ahead and hashtag for me listening in, because that's what we're going to focus on today in our renewal practices on listening in. How many of you could benefit from an increased listening capability or increased listening skills? All right, I know that I can. So let's position ourselves. First of all, hearing is the sense, but listening is the skill. So I have the sense of hearing, and so when I have that sense of hearing, do I focus on increasing my skill of listening? My skill of listening. So go ahead and just hashtag listening in. Let me know that you're with me today, because we want to focus on listening and listening in. All right. And the reasons behind that listening. And thank you so much, folks, for connecting today. So hearing is the sense, but listening is the skill set. So we want to concentrate today on the skill set that we have so that we can foster more connectivity. There are purposes and reasons for why we need to listen, and the importance of increasing our listening capability. All right. Thank you so much. Everybody's listening in today. Very, very, very good. Thank you so much. All right. So one of the things we want to focus on, first thing I'd like you to do this week, even if you can today, is when you're in a conversation, your next conference call, your next virtual call, your next conversation in person, is to stop. Focus on, I'm going to stop speaking and I'm going to be deliberate and intentional about listening. Stop. In other words, I'm going to stop generating a response. I will stop generating a response. Now, how many of you've been in a conversation with someone, even especially in this virtual world when you don't have your cameras on, and you're in this meeting and you check out because you want to respond to what's being spoken? I know I can't see your hands right now, but wave your hand at me, let me know. See, I've gone through that myself where someone's talking and we call it multitasking. Multitasking is not a skill. It is important that we're able to do one thing well at each moment. We'll talk about that and debate that another time. But I want to encourage us, listening in requires intentionality. And so it's important that we first pause and stop allowing ourselves to generate additional ideas, just responses before the person is finished speaking, because I want to get a word in. First thing we want to do is stop. So our renewal practice is about stop, and then about listening and reflecting. Stop, listen, and then reflect. Reflect on what was said, reflect on what it is that you're listening to. And when I talk about listening, we're not just talking about listening to other people. You're also listening to your own body. You're listening to what's happening around you in the environment. You're listening from your cycles and your patterns that are around you, certain patterns or cycles or circumstances, because life has a way of speaking to us. So have you listened to life speaking to you? Have you listened to the cycles, perhaps, or some patterns that you're seeing, recurrent themes that make them up or rise again? So listening is not just about the other person, but about life in general. I'm deliberate about listening with my head and listening with my heart. Listening with my head is to understand. Listening with my heart is to feel it. And so that means I remove segmentation from the listening experience. And I allow myself to listen with wholeness in mind. So again, pause. I want you to be committed to stop and not be so quick to just give a word, not be so quick to hurry up and react. Maybe the person isn't even asking for your response. Maybe it's just stop because I'm focusing on being present. So stopping is about presence. Stopping is about presence. I'd like to hear from you. What are your thoughts on that statement? To stop is about being present. Now, again, this is all about listening, and we're referring to the emphasis here is not only solely listening to other people, it's the mindset and the skill set of listening to life, which means I'm listening to even how my body responds. Have you listened to your body lately? What it's speaking to you? What is it saying to you about your health? Are you noticing what patterns, cycles in your life, recurrent themes that might be coming up? You might have a recurrent theme that your relationships are constantly going through challenges. Are you listening to the theme so you can get to the root, perhaps, of something that needs to be learned or understood or enjoyed? There are various reasons why. And so stopping is about presence. Stopping is about moving into that place to listen and to then reflect. So our first renewal focus for today, renewal practice for today, is the ability to stop. I know a lot of us, we're moving all the time. I know that you're from one meeting to the next. Can I also just give you, I said this about a year and a half ago in one of our tea times about how you schedule your time. I know for those of you that, you're working remotely, you're constantly in meetings, don't do a hard stop at like noon. When you set your meetings that you can control or you can at least influence, set it from like 11 to 11:50 or 11 to 11:55. Set your meetings that way. If you're the one that's controlling or you're implementing meetings, then give yourself a break and end 10 minutes early. Because what ends up happening is it's hard for us to listen when we're hungry, when we're thirsty, when we don't stretch, when we don't breathe, when we don't center ourselves. All that is part of listening. So as a practice, I would encourage you, instead of going a meeting from 11 to 12, do 11 to 11:50 or 11 to 11:55 so that you can give yourself space to listen, to reflect, to disconnect, and then re-engage. So I'd like to hear from you. It's kind of quiet out there. That's because you're listening. But let me know what your thoughts are on our first renewal practice for today, which is stop, listen, and then reflect. Stop, listen, and then reflect. All right, let's move on to our next one, our next renewal practice for today. Again, we're talking about listening in. Listening in. Another way that we can focus on listening is loosening our hold on how we see the world. Loosen our hold on how we see the world. See, how you see the world will determine how you listen. Have you ever experienced someone that really checks out when you're speaking to them? Have you noticed body language from maybe a group of people or certain people within a team that check out? Or there might be one person that when you're speaking, they have the tendency to react or respond a certain way because you're the one that's speaking, because you see the pattern, you see the responses. Many times people will need to loosen their hold on how they see the world. Why? Because how they see the world will determine how they listen. In other words, they may say, well, what do they have to say? I mean, they're not teaching me anything. So they check out and they don't listen because of how they view the world. Perception is the basis for reception. So how I perceive maybe impacts how I receive from someone else, how I'm going to interact with them based upon my perception. And my perception is really the information and the knowledge that I have at the time. and then I make a judgment, or even bias can step in. You've probably seen that in certain meetings that you've experienced as well. So part of our renewal practice, we said stop, listen, reflect, but also loosen up a bit on how you see the world. Don't have such a firm grip. I know it. I'm confirmed. I know. Loosen your hold, because the more that you loosen your hold, the more that you provide, you're able to, you might not see everything as an obstacle. You may see it again as a building block. So once you loosen your hold, whatever is considered an obstacle, you can listen to the obstacle, and then that what you listen, it becomes a stepping stone. It becomes all based upon how you listen. Absolutely, how you're listening. So it's important that we're able to do that. I wanted to just hone in on some of these renewal practices. Let me know your thoughts on this today, and hopefully this is helpful as you engage in future meetings that you're having. We're pausing. Stop, listen, reflect. Then we're going to focus on loosening our hold on how we see the world. Realize that we participate with life. We don't control it. See, we listen differently when we think we're in control. When we think we're in control, we will listen differently when we think we're in control. I've done that before. If I think I'm in control of something, I'll listen differently. Oh, it's okay. I'm in control of it. See, we don't control life. We participate in life. So one of the things I want us to be able to understand as a renewal practice is to focus on, we will listen differently when we think we're in control. So therefore, relinquish it at times. I don't need to control this. I don't even need to control this other person's behavior when they're speaking. I don't need to control anything. What I need to do is stop, listen, and reflect. See, one of the things that this does is you then, when you're listening without a desire to control, then you don't segment or you don't compartmentalize your life. You live with a sense of being congruent. You live with a sense of being synergistic or synergy or unity. One of the things that another way of potentially listening is being open to your journey. And what I mean by that is you're not sorting out your experiences or your ideas, or you're mixing and merging everything. You're mixing and merging everything and just sitting there, stopping and listening and reflecting to all of it. Listening to what your body's trying to tell you. Your body's saying go to bed early. Your body is saying take a nap. Your body is saying disconnect, but we're not listening. There's something always to gain. You know, when I begin to not segment or compartmentalize, I begin to recognize I could be sad and happy at the same time. I began to notice a range. I noticed I was sad and happy at the same time, because we're all emotional beings. We're all intellectual beings. We're all sensual beings. We're all spiritual beings. We're all these different things. And so when you listen, when you're listening to head and heart, you can feel and think at the same. You're feeling the full range, and that's listening as well. So we're not just talking about listening to others. We're also talking about listening to life. That's the renewal practice today. Listening to what life has to offer you. Okay. So when we do that, then one of the things we want to do is we want to be able to pause and do that. And so therefore, participate. Don't try to control the process. Participate in it. Thank you, Lord. This is really, really making me think about how it's important, even if you're a person of prayer and meditation, the importance of listening in those moments as well. So considering different perspectives when interpreting the other person's message. Absolutely. Consideration. Thank you for sharing that, Hope. Monique says listening for understanding. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. Carmela says listening to how we are feeling in our bodies is so important. Yes, it is. Again, folks, we're talking about listening in and the importance of realizing let's not control that. Ways to listen to life. These are just renewal practices that I think are going to help us. All right, let's pause for a moment. And I want to take a moment and I'd like you to think about how listening generates creativity. How does listening generate creativity? So I want you to be deliberate this month in this renewal practice that you'll listen so much that creation will arise. Creativity will arise because you're willing to listen. We're in a text-heavy world, so which means we're constantly putting out content. And so therefore, creativity is indispensable to innovation. So it's important that as we listening will then generate creativity. If you ever find yourself stuck for an idea or a project, or it seems like I can't get things off the ground when it comes to the work that I'm trying to get done, you're preparing for something, that's the time to say, I'm just going to listen. I'm going to stop, I'm going to listen, and then I'm going to reflect. This helps us with uncertainty. It helps us with when things aren't clear. So it's important that we concentrate on how listening can begin to generate creativity. And through that creativity, again, is indispensable to innovation. Creativity relies on listening. And I think I referred to that earlier, to your head, your heart, and to humanity. So 3 H's. I'm going to listen to my head. I'm going to listen to my ideas, my intellect, my rationale. I'm going to listen to my heart, my passion, my compassion. I'm going to listen to my emotion and my feeling, my desire, my imagination, all that's in my heart as well. And I'm going to listen to humanity. What is happening in the world that I'm in? Because if listening generates creativity, then that means also that when I am generating creativity, that creativity now, again, listening and creativity, what does it do? It relies on curiosity. So connect your listening to being curious. Certain ways, questions that we can ask to be able to gain more understanding when I'm engaging in conversation with others. So let's pause here for a moment. Let's really think this through. There are 4 main reasons why we want to focus on our listening. There are times you're going to focus for information. I need to obtain information, so I'm going to listen to obtain information. Other times you're going to focus on information. You're going to listen for understanding, so I can understand what I'm listening to, what I'm hearing. Other times I am listening for enjoyment. You listen to the breeze, you listen to the rain, you listen to the fire crackling there in the fireplace. You're listening for enjoyment, to music. You're listening for learning. And so I want to present this more as a holistic renewal practice. Not to be balanced, not to measure it, not to analyze, but to say experience it all. Am I listening to obtain information? Do I understand what's being said? Am I enjoying this moment? And what am I learning? See, this is a humble place, especially for leaders, because when you hone in on this type of listening as an art, it causes others to even be more creative. It shows a sense of trust, a sense of connection. It fosters a flow in community when we are connected to listening and the art of listening and really being deep in why we need to listen and how we're listening. These are important renewal practices. Any thoughts on what we're presenting today so far? All right, let's keep moving. Again, listening for information, for understanding, for enjoyment, and for learning. That's why it's important to have journals and notes and sticky notes and Post-its and, whether it's physical or even digital, so that you can go back and say, what do I need to learn or unlearn? Or because you're listening to life. You're listening to life. So here's a few renewal practices. We'll give you two as far as when you're in conversation. Try repeating their words mentally as they say them to reinforce their message. Someone is speaking to you, and so the goal is to repeat what they're saying in your mind so that their words mentally, as they say them, to reinforce their message. That's one way of getting out of distractions when somebody else is talking. Because it's easy for me to go to my own thoughts because I want to get a word in. So because I want to get a word in, am I really listening if I want to get a word in? No, I'm not. I'm not really listening if I want to get my words across. I want to say what I have to say. I want to be deep instead of really listening with head and heart. That's why the first three areas we said stop, listen, reflect. Stop yourself from immediately responding. Stop yourself from immediately reacting, and try repeating their words mentally as they say them to reinforce their message. Try that this week. If you try this, you'll find yourself not having to say much because you're going to be repeating their words mentally as they say them to reinforce their message. So it's not about your message, it's about their message. It's not about you controlling life, it's about you participating with life and letting life speak. Let it speak to you because you stop, listen, reflect. Come on, say that with me. Stop, listen, reflect. Hashtag it. Come on, put it in the chats. Stop, listen, reflect. Listen with the head, listen with the heart. Stop is about presence, because what's happening is I'm going to stop by not reacting, by not responding, so that I can be fully present. You bring presence with you everywhere you go. It's important that you do that. Stop, listen, reflect. That is something we're going to focus on in March. We're going to listen very deeply. We're going to listen very empathically. That's right. Stop, listen, and reflect. As you're thinking through our renewal practices today, let me share something else with you. I think number 2, ask clarifying questions and phrases. Things like, what do you mean when you say? So if you're in a meeting, especially in this virtual world, many times people are doing other things and multitasking while they're on a call. Can you say that again? You know they're not listening, because we do that. So the important thing is to ask clarifying questions or say clarifying phrases. What do you mean when you say so and so and so and so? Is this what you mean? Let me repeat this. Sounds like you're saying this. Is that what you're saying? Can we confirm that? What I'm hearing is boom, 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 boom. And if I say what I'm hearing is, then a person can say, no, 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 no. Here's what I want you to understand. Here's what I mean. Because they're not only communicating words, they're communicating meaning. So listening is not just for hearing for the words, but it's understanding the meaning of what's being said. Right? Important that we do this. Providing a distraction-free environment so one can speak freely. Absolutely. Free from distractions. All right? There's so many different distractions that get in the way of us listening. That's right. Stop, listening, and reflect. So let's continue with this. Okay? We're just talking about listening, and these are things that we all need to practice. So at least I know I need to. I'll just speak for myself. All right. So what do you mean when you say, is this what you mean? Sounds like you are saying, or what I'm hearing is, again, this is just normal conversation, especially we need to increase this because we're in a digital world. Things get lost in the technology, get lost in the translation. So especially now that we're in this virtual world, everything we're doing is so blended. I like to use the word high tech and high touch. So I have high tech. I tell my teams when I'm leading them, we don't only just need to be high tech, we need to be high touch. What do you mean high touch? Listening, empathy, sympathy, engaging, compassion, intentionality. Those are things we got to do. So the higher the tech, the higher the touch. That's important that we do that. That means we're willing to not control, but we want to be able to participate in life. That helps us begin to strengthen our ability to listening in. Yes, it does. It provides very good feedback. Thank you for sharing that. It does provide good feedback. All right, let's keep rolling here. A few more things I want to just be able to understand. And again, clarifying questions. Now, I want to ask a few questions. And these are just things that we'll work on today. What positive listening habits do I have? What negative listening habits do I have? I want you to locate yourself. What listening habits am I willing to let go of? What new listening habits am I willing to develop? Even when it comes to, because we have to listen for a new world. So because of the new world that we're in with increased information and data and analytics and numbers and visuals and images and hyperstimulation, are we really listening or are we just passing by hearing? So we have to ask ourselves, it's important to ask ourselves these questions. What positive listening habits do I have? Okay, yeah. What negative listening habits do I have? Okay. What am I willing to let go of? And what new listening habits am I willing to develop? Feel free to answer that question and place that in the comments. Place that in the comments. What positive ones do you have? What negative ones do you have? What listening habits are you willing to let go? What new listening habits, just based upon our conversation today too. If there's some new principles, or maybe it's something that you have to sharpen yourself in and say, remember that. Let me get back to that. I got to remember. I need to remember so that I can start sharpening that and recognizing that there are areas that I need to have a different, maybe another way of listening. I think I mentioned earlier about another way of listening is to not try to sort out everything, but let them all mix and merge so you can learn. It's learning the lesson of wholeness. It's learning the lesson. Like if you one that just says, I feel, then if you're constantly living just on the feeling part, then you're not acknowledging the thinking part. Or if you're just saying, well, that's what I think. And then if I don't allow the emotion to come, then I'm missing the emotional part. Let the entire process of listening be there so that I can learn from wholeness. I'm learning from wholeness. I'm learning from unity. I'm learning from oneness, wholeness, and unity when I listen like that. Okay. Hope says listening to someone empathetically can help prevent misunderstanding. Being aware of what others are feeling and thinking will reduce chances of misunderstanding. Absolutely. Empathetically, entering into their world, stretching out of yours, entering into someone else's. So what are some of the positive habits you have? Anyone? Negative habits that you have in listening? What listening habits are you willing to let go of? Or what new listening habits are you willing to develop? And then lastly, as we move into our last renewal practice for the day, what are some other ways to listen? Anybody want to share? By all means, share your content, share some insights so we can all increase our resilience in the area of listening. So I wanted us to be able to focus on listening in today as our renewal practice and how it's connected to stop, listen, reflect. So before we close out for our renewal practice today, I'm going to sip my tea again and share with us from these questions. I'm going to give you a moment to really settle in on these questions that we had here. Please feel free to place those in the comments. And also for us, if you will, share with us what are your takeaways from the day? How are you sharpening yourself? What impacted you? What really jumped out to you today as a result of listening in today? And as you do that, I just want to share again, this is our opportunity for you to connect with us here at the Renewal Center. It is Giving Tuesday, so just want to remind you, hopefully you've benefited from the RC today. And so I want to bring up different ways of giving that you can support us. You can go to our website at www.therenewalcenters.com/give. Always know that you can go through our mobile app, so feel free to download the mobile app as well. We do have CashApp at Cash Renewal Center, and our PayPal and our Zelle is the Renewal Center 2020 at Gmail. So, and then Venmo is at Renewal Center. So if this has been a strength to you, a value add to you, we ask you to partner with us here at the Renewal Center. Connect with us, supporting what we're doing here as far as all our initiatives. And at the end of our tea time today, we will bring that back up again for you to be able to participate. So I'm going to bring Carmela back on, get some response from Carmela. Hey, Mel.
Hi.
Talk to me.
This was good. I like ways that we can brush up on our active listening skills and focusing on our listening habits. And what stood out to me was the drawing in, the pause part, the pausing part, like so that we can become more open, as you were sharing, listening for information, listening for understanding, enjoyment, and just, just being able to hone in on listening like that so we don't miss out. I think that, the part that you were saying sometimes is we're already ahead before we're even there. We're not even taking the time to just take in what's being said. And so we miss out a lot when we're ahead of the game already, instead of just kind of stepping back to listen. So I like that. Listening for enjoyment. Sometimes that piece, we kind of just let that go. And listening for enjoyment, we can just be, I would say, empowered in a lot of ways from different things by just the fact of taking the time to listen to it.
Yeah, that is important.
We miss out on a lot of things. The part that you were talking about earlier when we were locating ourselves made a big difference, because sometimes when I'm locating myself, I become more aware of some of the things that I've overlooked, the sounds and just what's happening around me. So I think that this has been a really good renewal practice today, because it's fostering us to become more creative. It's fostering us to be more aware of what's going on around us.
Yeah.
That aspect.
And I like that you said it, because now I'm no longer trying to control everything. I want to participate with life and not try to control it, and just participate in that, as part of I would like to hear more from the audience. I think people are listening, so they're not really responding. Let us know what your takeaways are, everyone. We'd love to hear from you. Let's see here. Karen says, my takeaway is I was reminded to intentionally listen as I did when I was a full-time counselor. Okay. All right. Anybody else? Any other thoughts on what you have gleaned, what you've learned? What's new for you, if anything? Anything new for anyone that's like a net new idea that has helped you? Charlisa says, a great suggestion to have a pause in between meetings as well as conversation with others to ensure we don't bring feelings, emotions from one into another. Thank you for sharing that.
That's
all
good.
Right. Anybody else? Any other ideas that are takeaways for you in the listening space? Definitely want to hear from you as it relates to listening in. I would encourage everyone as a renewal practice, kick off the month of March with this in mind. Kick off the month of March with this in mind. All right. Before we close out today, I just want to remind everyone, please also save the date. We have a prophetic gathering, our 4th Carolina prophetic gathering, April 27th through the 29th. Our focus for this year is in sync with Christ. We will be on site April 27th through the 29th. All right. So that is our 2029, a decade of declaration and demonstration. This is our 4th installment. It's going to be in person at the Harvest Center. All right, which is close to the airport here in Charlotte. So we'd like to see you here, our speakers, more to come. encourage you to please register, save the date. We're going to kick things off on Thursday evening, all day Friday, and all day Saturday. So we'd love to have you there to be in person and connect with one another in person. So definitely wanted to share that with you. And I also wanted to share with you also this coming Friday, Saturday, my business, Brown Resources, we're having the Change Virtual Masterclass. Really, it's about the servant leader in an age of chaos and collapse. It is this Saturday from 9 to noon. It is virtual. It's a huge reduction of price from $99 to $25. You get thought leadership on leading through chaos, facing and understanding the realities of the times. And also, if you're a counselor, you're a consultant, or you're a coach, it'll help you develop contextual leadership. I want to encourage you, if you can go to my pages, please feel free to register for that. And also share the registration with others so you can participate with me in the Change Experience Virtual Master Class. All right. So any last words, Carmela, anything we need to share with everyone else before we close out?
Well, this has just been a good session today. I'm being reminded to be deliberate and intentional about listening, which is so important. So thank you for sharing those renewal practices with us today. And thanks to our Tea Time community today.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And again, that's the connection right there. If you want to register, as well as for giving, you can go directly to our website and just click on that now as we're streaming. Please feel free to support and connect with the Renewal Center. So again, thank you so much, everyone, for being on. Please stay on as we close out with further announcements in our videos. And again, as we say here, take care of each other, and I am Renewal. Have a good day.